Hey, good morning. Hey, go grab you a cup. Let's have some coffee together. Well, thanks for joining me for coffee. It's about 5:30 in the morning here in North Texas, and right now it's about the coolest it's going to get all day long. Because August is no joke down here, and even though I've spent 51 years here, you just still can't get used to the heat. It's just, golly, man. And especially when you move off to a beautiful place like Colorado, like I did, and then have to come back here right in the middle of it and just get right back into work. It's hot, and if you don't watch it, it'll get you, because you just got to get stuff done. You think you have to get it all done, and you're just out there, and you're or long you'll feel something on your shoulder, and you look up, and it's the ground. But me and her, we're down here helping the family out. She's been down here for almost 3 weeks now, and before that she came down for a couple of weeks, and I came down for a week, and before that we kind of coming back and forth. We've got quite a bit of work to do down here to get this property here sold and get everything auctioned off of it. So what we're having is an estate auction for a lot of our farm equipment and stuff that we've just kept over the last 50 years, and about a year and a half ago we sold off some of the big farm equipment, the big hay balers and rakes and tractors and stuff like that, and conditioners and cutters, and now we're just kind of left with the smaller stuff, hand tools and all the antique tools. And last time I was here about 3 weeks ago, we were able to go through and get all the family heirlooms and things that my great grandfather had, back in Kentucky and before they came here in the 1880s. So we were able to get all that stuff out and get it secured, and I guess that's how you do it. I don't know. We've never gone through this as a family before, and so we're trying to figure it out as we go. And I've been to a lot of estate auctions and estate sales and things, and I know the principal concept of it all, but until you're right in the middle of it all and getting rid of stuff that you worked with your whole life, you don't really know the gravity of it. I don't know if you hear them coyotes hollering in the background just now. Something else, you hear any traffic noise? It's so quiet out here that you can get so lost in your thoughts that you could just sit for an hour and just be in your own head. That's what I miss about this place the most. I used to sit up on my back porch. I built a little house in the back there. And the fields right across over here, they'd all be planted in wheat. And you could sit there on that porch and you can watch them wheat fields, and when the wind would come through like that, and you could watch the waves of the wind come across those wheat fields, and it looks like an ocean. And you could just sit there and just sway and sit there in your rocking chair and watch that. It would mesmerize you. It would put you to sleep. It was just, it's probably the best therapeutic thing a person could ever do, I think. You can give money to a million different psychiatrists and wellness centers and go through sound baths and stone therapies and all that kind of stuff. And the only reason I know that is because I live in Colorado now, but sitting out on a porch here in North Texas watching the wheat field sway in the wind, there's nothing more therapeutic than that, I promise. Are you laughing about my coffee cup? You know, when you're down here, you got very limited amount of dishes that we use, because since everybody is kind of moved away, you know, we still got somebody living in this house right here, but one of the family members, but you know, they're limited in coffee cups, so I think it's kind of cool. I know I'm being very sporadic in my conversation here, and I'm not following one kind of storyline, and I'm sure it's hard to keep up. But again, it is about 5:45 in the morning, and my brain's not working all the way yet, because that's only the first cup of coffee. But I got to get things rolling here in just a few minutes, you know, for the auction that's going to happen, and I'm just trying to get a quick update. But as far as the auction goes, you know, we're going to have about 150 to 200 people here in about 2 hours. And that's what my wife's been doing for the last 2.5, 3 weeks, is helping the auctioneers and getting everything set up, and we're fixing to sell everything. I'll tell you right now, that humbles you. When I say it humbles you, I means, you know, you're supposed to already be dead and gone before you sell everything that you work so hard your whole life to keep. And I know you're not supposed to get so attached to monetary items, but, you know, how can you not? You know, just something as simple as a corn husker, you know, I mean, you know, but everything's tied to some memories, and it's just to watch those memories just walk away in someone else's hands. And I don't know, you know, it's just a weird deal. I don't even know how to describe it, and I don't even think I can 100%, you know, because it's just a different thing. You know, a lot of people, they don't have possessions, they don't care about possessions, and yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's all it is just possessions. You know, you can't take it with you when you die and all that kind of crap, you know, but it's just weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's different. Really different. Just things that you grew up with, you know, things that you've used your whole life, you know, just auctioned off for pennies on the dollars just for somebody to just take it and walk away from it. I don't know. It needs to happen. It's got to happen. You know, I'm not going to use this stuff anymore, and, you know, my dad, he can't use it anymore, and, you know, he's pretty much at the end of his life, and, you know, all of us, the whole family's gone in different directions. We're not farmers anymore, and we're not ranchers anymore, and there ain't no money in it unless you got big acreage somewhere, and, you know, when you're small time, you can't make a living at it. It's more of a hobby than anything. I don't know, that's a whole bunch of rambling right there. I don't even know if I want to keep all that in or not, or just, I don't know. Maybe this is my therapy session. All right, man. I gotta get to work. I got some more cleaning I gotta do, and there's gonna be a lot of people here, and this is gonna go quick. I'll try to do some shots of it throughout the day and just kind of see how it goes. And yeah, it's gonna be a tough day. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know.
Got 28. Here we go. $50. Hey, I'm gonna buy $50 bid. Gonna be $50 dollar. Gonna be $50. Wherever that red rag is, guys, is where we're at. 50 to bid. Gonna be 50, 40, 40. Gonna be 40 now. Gonna be 40, 40. Gonna be 40. Thank you, Joe. 40 bucks. Gonna be $40. Gonna be $40 dollar. Gonna be $40. There's some electrical wire or two. Lot 31. Here we go. 20 bucks. Hey, I'm gonna buy 20, 20. Gonna be $20 buy.
I get made fun of quite a bit because I slurp my coffee, and I don't know how to drink without it. I mean, you got to get in there somehow. I'm not just going to pour it in my mouth because it's hot. I mean, am I going to use a straw? Well, anyway, good morning. Another beautiful Texas sunrise. Well, the auction is over, and if I told you yesterday was easy, I'd be lying to you. It was a tough day on multiple fronts. Most of the time, at least all the auctions that I've been to, especially estate auctions, family members ain't there. And because it's either going to be too hard for them or too emotional or whatever, or they just don't have any attachment to the stuff that's in the auction. But I had some extended family show up, but all my girls and my grandbabies were there, and I don't know if it was because nobody cared or what, but or maybe it was just too hard for them. I don't know. But it was one of those things where every thing here had a story, had a history. Not just one story, but hundreds of stories and hundreds of memories. And you're probably asking, well, why'd you auction it off then? Well, you can't keep everything. There's no money in farming anymore unless you got just thousands of acres. And, if you choose a different life path, then you just don't have room for this stuff. And what is it going to do? Just sit in storage somewhere? And then whose burden is that when you're gone? Is it going to be your kids' burdens that actually have no memories to that whatsoever then? And then it's not going to be treasured. So it's kind of a catch-22. And I wanted to be here yesterday for sure. And I don't know. For instance, I found myself getting a little angry when we were on a particular item and it was being auctioned off, and these memories come flooding in of this one particular thing, and it was only going for like $20. And I was getting mad. I was thinking, you don't know what this particular thing has gone through with me or with my brother or with my dad or anything like that. But no, they don't know. And frankly, they probably don't even care. But we had a good group here yesterday. They were asking, specifically, what's the history on this item, because I was more than happy to tell them all and to share my memories with my dad and all of what we did, through my childhood working and how we used this item on the farm and things like that, or if I didn't personally use it, I've got the stories of how my dad used it with his dad on the farm and things like that. So at least when it's sitting in their yard as a yard art, it's a conversation piece. Next time they have a barbecue, they can say, yeah, we got this straight off a farm, and this is what it was used for. So I thought it was pretty cool. I was able to do that. And then, after the auction was over, and everybody started loading stuff up, and, how they were just grabbing stuff and just throwing it on a trailer. And I'm just like, man, if I'd have loaded that like that, man, I'd have got my butt chewed out by my dad. It's just those things like that you don't really realize. And this is the first time I've ever been on this side of that auction, and I've been to plenty of them and done the same thing. You don't go to one of these things looking to pay top dollar. You can buy it new or what. I mean, you come to these things looking for a deal, and that's why I always went to auctions. And, the monetary value that I put on something, no one's going to pay that because no one can afford it. So it sure was different. And it was hard. It was hard. But what do? You can't keep everything forever. There's got to be a time to let stuff go. Especially if you have a storage unit somewhere in town and the item's been sitting there for 5 or 10 years, and then all of a sudden you find it again, like, oh, well, I want to keep this. Why? You haven't used it in 10 years. Sure, it's got a history, and sure, it's got a story. But I guess share that story and that memory with somebody else and let somebody else have it. I mean, that's hard to do, though. It's better than sitting in some old dusty barn and never getting talked about again. I don't know. And that's just like our elderly grandparents or parents or whatever. I can say that because I'm getting close to being elderly myself, and I've seen it too many times where people just lock them away, shove them in an old barn to die or something like that, and only come around when it's convenient to them, and or when they want to make themselves feel good to come visit them for a weekend or a day or even an hour, whatever's convenient, right? And that's sad, because those people are the ones who created us, and those people are full of so many memories and things like that. Yeah, they may be cranky, but if you live that long and you put up what they put up with, and that's their right. So next time you're walking across somebody's grass and that old man says, "Get off my yard," it's his yard. You shouldn't have been on that grass anyway. Anyhow, I got a little bit more loading up to do today, and got to do some more cleanup around here, and then we'll pretty much be done. We close on this property on the 20th, and I got to be out of here 100%. Broom finished is how the new buyers wanted it. How do you broom finish something that's got over 50 years of stuff on it? That's amazes me how city people don't understand farm life, or just don't understand it. I personally don't even know if I'm going to make all this into a video or not. This is more personal than it is anything. I don't know if this is a part of my life I want to share. We'll see. But right now it's time to get to work.
it is finished. You know, that was probably one of the harder things I've had to do in life. When you sell all your dad's stuff, clean out the barns, but everything's vacant, everything's done. You know, it's funny, I never really realized there was two types of quiet until today. Now I'm in my mid-50s and never really thought about it. I'm talking about, you know, the quiet where you're sitting on the porch, there's no outside noise, and it's just peaceful quiet. And then there, that other quiet is the empty quiet. Kind of like when your last child leaves the house. You know, that empty nester quiet. It's just empty. It's a sad quiet, not a peaceful quiet. It's really the only way I can explain it. We're supposed to be here all next week, but man, I've been working like a common laborer and I got it done. I thought I was gonna fall out there about 3 or 4 times. You know, you live in Colorado in that nice climate for almost 3 years like we've had, and then come down here to Texas in the middle of August and just work like a dog. This is my 3rd day. My goodness, I didn't know I still had it in me, to be honest. got kind of proud of myself. Whew. And I'm tired. I'm real tired. And I know I can't stay here. It's too quiet. It's too sad. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll figure it out though. You know, I plan everything out almost to the minute everywhere I go. I don't have a plan right now. I don't know what's next. That's scary. You know, we live our whole lives saving money and getting possessions and trying to set ourselves up for what's next. We don't even know what that is. We're setting ourselves up for something we don't have any control over. That's what's funny. But what do you do? The days are long gone living in a toga and wearing sandals and just walking around and eating grain off the ground. You have to set yourself up for something, but I don't know what that something is. Is it to get all these possessions and then just lay on your deathbed and not be able to use them? Or is it, I don't know. I know we've had coffee a couple of times this week and it's been some pretty deep thoughts and pretty personal stuff. I guess I'll have my moment when the moment's right, but it ain't right now. But I know when I get in the truck and I pull out that gate right there, it'll be probably the last time I'm ever here. And that's hard. But that's life. Well, I ain't getting nothing done, just sitting here dwelling on the past. Either I need to get to living or I need to get to dying, one of the two, so I choose the first. I got a whole week. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I sure ain't gonna sit in this heat. Either way, I can promise you right now, I left this place better than I found it. 25, well, 28, almost 30 years ago when we moved up here from off the farm there in about an hour south of here. We bought this place as is, and we worked for several years to get this place the way it is now. It sure is better than how I found it. We'll see what happens next. So if I don't see you on the trail, I'll see you down the road.